Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard, the Wax Wizard. Thanks for joining me. This and the other ear that you're going to see, probably two of the most unusual things I've come across in probably a long time now. You can probably already see what's unusual about this, can't you? Got this pulsing of this eardrum. It's actually shaped like a little heart, isn't it? Now, I was baffled when I saw this because there's a few things that it could have been. We're still not 100% sure, but we have more of an idea now. I've got there's images of that. There's the same video of that at the end of this next procedure as well, so you can have another look at it. But because it's relatively straightforward, this one, but I'll tell you about what's going on, or what we think's going on with that one you've just seen, and then you can have another look at it again at the end of the video. So yeah, this chap came to see me, and as soon as he looked in it, we'd done a little removal first. It was nothing unusual or interesting about that. Just a bit of dead skin, and when we removed it, yeah, we saw this big pulsing thing. Now, there can be a couple of reasons why, well, more than a couple actually, why you can get pulsing of the eardrum. Now, when I took his medical history, he had a history of cancer. I believe he's under treatment for, doing very well from what I know. I think it's prostate and also eye as well, which is the same side. Whether that's related, whether one's a secondary, I'm not entirely sure, because it's extremely rare to get it in the eye. In fact, I think there's less than 1,000 cases a year in the UK from what I read, and that's at the same side as that ear as well. So one of my thoughts was, obviously, is there a mass behind there that shouldn't be there? Because when you do get a mass, that obviously it got its own blood supply, and that could explain why it's pulsing like that. I did share it with my professional network, and a few had plenty of ideas. You know, Neil had some ideas. I shared it with Jeff LaCour as well. He had some ideas, because this is why you share things with your colleagues. Obviously, immediate referral as well. Because not one person knows everything, and it just goes to show, actually, because the amount of specialists that saw it all over the world, it became quite popular on LinkedIn, and a lot of people got to see it, and these were consultant audiologists and specialist ENT consultants all over the world got to have a look at it, and all still had different ideas as to what they think was going on. So yeah, a mass was something that it could have been. It also it could have been what's called a patulous eustachian tube, which the eustachian tube, as you know, is the tube that a bit more science than normal today, isn't it? But obviously this one warrants it. Patulous eustachian tubes, where the eustachian tube's open. Now, its resting position is closed normally. That's the tube that joins the middle ear to the back of the nose. And when it's open, that pulsing can be synchronous with your breathing. You know, if that is the case, if you've got that where it doesn't shut when it should, you know, you can hear your own voice in your head, and you have to see whether it's synchronous with the breathing as a passage of air, because the eustachian tube is open. We don't think it was that, because it was a little quick. Then it was a little quicker. So it's more in time with the gentleman's heart rate. So there's something more vascular involved in here. And what we think, we're still not 100% sure, did have a scan. There was no mass behind there, which obviously is great, which is good. Didn't show anything behind there. So what the most common thought is, you can get otitis media, you know, infection in the middle ear. Build up a fluid in there, and it can become hypervascular, and that particular pocket there, that particular area, it's a lot thinner than the rest, and it could have been a lot thinner than the rest of the eardrum, because if he's had eustachian tube dysfunction and it's got like a retraction pocket, it's a bit thinner there, and then get fluid in there, and it becomes hypervascular, you know, blood supply there. And it's that blood supply, it's kind of the heart rate showing itself through all that vascular process in there of inflammation and fluid and what have you. So we think that's most likely what it is. We'll be 100% sure. It's doing great now, by the way. In fact, it didn't really have other than a pulsing in his ear, which wasn't affecting him too much, to be honest. It was quite mild, surprisingly. He's otherwise doing okay. I will keep you updated if we find out anything else, but I just thought I'd share that with you, because I've not seen anything like that, certainly for a long time anyway. It was most unusual, and it goes to show that until you've got some test results, images in front of you, a lot of diagnosis is kind of, I'm not going to say educated guesses, well I just did, didn't I? But you can have varied opinions on what's causing some things, because one particular symptom or presentation can have lots of different reasons why it does that. It's what makes healthcare so fascinating, certainly around the ear, because it's the variety of conditions and peculiarities that you can get there. There's lots of them. But anyway, I hope you found that interesting anyway. You will see another video of that at the end of this procedure as well. But the second one was just as interesting, not this ear. The one after this is the other ear of the same gentleman who's having this done here, which fairly straightforward. I've used a fine end tube, I think, for the majority, if not all, of that procedure, because again he had a bit of an issue with quite sensitive to noise, and he got some tinnitus as well. And you should always try and keep the noise down in those instances. So we didn't use the full size tube for that. Just going to see if any of that last bit of skin lifts up there. I'm not too concerned if it doesn't, to be honest. Bit of it comes away great. It's not going to make too much difference in the long run. But if you can get it away safely and it comes away easily and the patient's comfortable with it, then why not, you know. But I'm certainly not interested in every last flake there, you know. It's really not important. But obviously from what it looked like to start with, it's a lot better, and you could hear a lot better. Now this one was the same gentleman as the one you've just seen. The other ear, as you can see, it looked very different, a lot deeper down this, and he didn't admit to shoving anything in there. That's not to say that he hadn't, but he swore that he didn't. But it's really wedged in this, and he's got quite a pronounced bend as well here, as you know. Well, if you don't know, I'll tell you, but most of you who watch these do know. The ear canal goes narrower just as it's approaching the eardrum, then it gets wider and it creates these recesses, they're called. Quite a pronounced one here, and I suspect that's where a lot of this has got stuck. So as we've already seen, not getting anywhere there with a fine end tube down on there, just due to the sheer consistency of it, and it's really stuck and it's kind of claggy, and it's going to clog up the tube really easily. These tubes are tiny, they're absolutely minuscule. So what I've done, I've absolutely drowned that in an olive oil spray and just suctioning away a bit of the excess oil there. I'm going to see if we can just hover over it, see if we can get a bit of a grip anywhere, just exploring different areas. Obviously I have to really carefully, because especially with the way this is presented, it's kind of hard to gauge where everything is. You know, you've no landmarks when it's kind of just smeared all over the eardrum like this. So, and you don't know how close to the eardrum you are as well, which obviously is another reason for being extremely careful. And as you can see, managed to lift that up a little bit there, but it's still fairly stuck. So it's going to be tricky, this, I can already tell. Just blocked up the tube there, so let's come out and go in again. Now, sometimes if you get some that's deep down here and it's really stuck, I suppose a procedure like this, because we found something behind this is why I'm showing it to you. It's a good example of why it's always a good idea to persevere with the suction, no matter how difficult it is. Because the easiest thing in the world to do would be to reach for the irrigator, give it a quick rinse out, and it'll probably fly out. And it probably would have done in this instance. And I do use irrigation, it's quite rare. So one in every, I don't know, as a ballpark figure, one in every 50 to 100 we have to use it for. And again, there's contraindications for it. There's some reasons why you shouldn't use it. Infections being one, perforations. Obviously, if anyone's a bit elderly, a bit more vulnerable and fragile, there's obviously more things that could go wrong. But this one is a good example of why it's worth persevering, because as tempted as I might have been with this being really stuck down here, I'm glad I didn't when I found out what was behind this. Which, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what it is. So if there's any specialists watching, I know there are one or two, then let me know what you think is going on this eardrum here. I have a few thoughts, but you can never be 100% sure. But you know, this is why you have specialists to have a look. Speaking of other specialists, just wanted to give a shout out to, there's a few new channels around, which is great to see. The more the merrier as far as I'm concerned, and you should give some of them a follow. You've got my good friend Lisa, who's another nurse at Suffolk Ear Care, is what you want to search for. She uploads quite a few of these procedures too. She doesn't waffle over them like I do. Has some nice relaxing music over the top of it, but you might like that. Suffolk Ear Care. And another new channel is from our friend Adam and Maria. Hello to you if you're watching. It's called Alto Hearing. That's ALTO. So if you want to go and give their channel a follow, please do. Some really interesting cases, and yeah, Maria's great at what she does, and Adam narrates over them, and it's a really good channel. So I suggest you go and find that one, and let me know I sent you. Now, just a few little soggy bits that's just broke away from that as we've tried to pull it out there. So we'll just grab this little bit here, and you'll see what's going on with this, and let me know what you think it is, because I'm a bit 100%. You can already see a bit purpley and a bit red, can't you, in this eardrum, and it's I'm going to get a bit closer in a minute, and it's bulging. Now, it's not pulsing like the other one did, thankfully. That's not to say there couldn't be something untoward going on here, but you've got this quite pronounced, what looks like a blood-filled bulge on this eardrum. Now, whether that's the eardrum itself that's become inflamed and blistered and some capillaries burst, or there's something behind that that's poking onto it, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But this is why you send these people to the specialist as quickly as possible. So I'll let you know if I do hear anything of that one. And here's the one you saw at the beginning. I said it just looked fascinating, doesn't it? I've never seen one that presents like that. Actually just looks like a beating heart on the eardrum. But I hope you enjoyed that, found it interesting. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.